something for you to record.
You're disgusting. Are you even my child? That was the lamest fart sound I've ever heard. Alright, finally, part 2. I know you guys have been waiting. I'm sorry. I had some technical difficulties with both of the cameras I've been using, and I finally just gave in and got a new one. This one seems to be a lot better quality. Hopefully this works out for all of us. So much better. Anyway, I know I'm behind on putting out these videos, so I'm going to smoosh the rest of this Christmas tree video into one. We're going to do the ornaments and the big grand finale tree topper. Anyway, I really hope you guys enjoy it along the way. It was a lot of fun to make. It was a lot of work. It took a long time. More like it was just, there was a lot to do. It wasn't necessarily difficult. It was just, there was a lot of it. All right. Anyway, let's go make some ornaments. We started out with raiding all of my kind of cast off resin pieces from other projects that I had made and wound up not using. We were looking for really bright and colorful stuff that would fit the fantasy theme. I also wound up making a few new batches of resin using molds like these you're seeing right here. Some of these are some crystal molds I made myself out of just silicone caulk. This red batch was a different resin than I usually use, and I'm telling you, I wasn't really feeling it. After this batch, I wound up going back to the kind I usually use. I'll explain a bit more about why in just a second, besides the fact that this was just super, super thick and hard to get stirred. Here was the main trouble I had. Even after hitting it with the heat gun, I still had lots of bubbles in my resin, and for the most part they went away, but the end pieces were still cloudier than I liked. Here we are the next day. I'll pop some out and show you what they look like. I did several different colors of resin over several different days, so I'm not going to show you all of those. This is just the first casting I did. The next kind of ornaments I made were using these coins that I got off Amazon. The entire bag was gold though, and I wanted some variation, so I'm going to hit some of them with this silver spray paint, as you see here in the background. My first thought for adding hooks to these was to use this Gorilla Glue and glue the hooks directly on, and I did that to this entire batch you see here. This wound up taking forever, and I really didn't like the results in the end, so I wound up switching methods here in a bit. I just busted out my Dremel and drilled a little hole in the top of each coin. After the holes were drilled, I just threaded one of the Christmas tree hooks directly through the hole and kind of pinched it closed so it would hold onto the coin like this. Of course, I just did the same thing with the silver coins. The next set of ornaments started their life as Dollar Tree toys. I found two different kinds of dragons. There's these hard dragons, there's some kind of squishy, wobbly, rubbery dragons. And then there are these sets of alicorns that are kind of crystal-like. We'll start by turning these hard plastic dragons into ornaments. To do that, I'm just drilling little holes right into the tops of their heads. You want to drill the hole thinking about how it's going to hang from the ornament and that you're going to like the angle it's hanging from. That's why I went for the top of the head with these guys. With the alicorns, I'm going to go straight down right between their wings into their back. And I forgot to record it, but for the little rubbery guys, I honestly just shoved the hook right through their necks. Now for the hard plastic guys, to put the little hooks in, I bent one end of each hook like this and dabbed a little bit of glue right on top of the hole. And then I just shoved that small bend right in there. The reason for this bend is just to give the glue some more stuff to kind of hold on to and wedge it in a little bit tighter into the hole. I have cats and kids, so my ornaments need to be fairly secure. I had never used this type of Gorilla Glue before, and in the end I kind of wound up regretting everything I used it on, and I'll show you why in a minute. You see that weird foam? That's what it did when it dried. I really just wasn't expecting that. Here's some on the back of some of the resin ornaments that I tried to glue together. Luckily, it was fairly easy to pick off and cut off anywhere that it was excessive. For my next ornaments, I'm using this bag of acrylic gems that I ordered off Amazon. For this step, I really suggest you use a respirator because I don't know what kind of fumes this puts off, and better safe than sorry. Plus, look how fashionable. I'm straightening out one end of my hook and grabbing a hold of the hooked end with a pair of pliers. Then I'm going to stick the straightened end of the hook into the candle flame toward the base of the flame. If you put it in toward the base, you'll get a lot less soot on your little piece of wire. After it's nice and hot, you want to take one of your acrylic gems and very carefully you want to push the hot end of the wire slowly but firmly into the acrylic. It won't go in super far, but it really doesn't need to. Once it is cooled off, they hold on really, really well. The next ornament uses this bag of little metal swords that I ordered off Amazon. As you can see, a lot of them came with these handy dandy little hoops already on the hilts. And here's what the entire collection looks like. The ones with the little hoops, those were really easy to hang. I mean, you know, just like a normal ornament. These without hoops, I'm just going to wrap the end of an ornament hook around the hilt, like so. Ta-da! I spray painted these twist ties silver in case I need to use them, but I think I'm mostly going to stick with these pipe cleaners, these gold pipe cleaners I got from Dollar Tree. Now we have a ton of minifigs. I've just got a few out to show you what I'm going to be doing here. And in case you're wondering about those cool skeleton boys there, they were on clearance at Dollar General for like $1 after Halloween. First, I'm just gonna cut these pipe cleaners into short lengths and then just hot glue them right onto the base of my minifigs. Don't worry, the hot glue pops right off. In fact, we hot glue our minifigs to popsicle sticks to make it easier to paint them all the time. You can kind of bend the pipe cleaner so that it doesn't pop off while the hot glue sets. The idea here is to wrap the little pipe cleaner around a branch like this so that your little minifigs can look like they're climbing all over the tree. This next ornament is based on a template I found by Bruno van de Castile. I modified it a bit. Over on my blog, you'll find a printable, and it allows you to put whatever images you want on the dies. I'll also add a few that already have some patterns for those of you who don't really like messing around with photo manipulation programs or anything like that. Now you can print this out on any kind of paper. I did originally print this out on some regular printer paper to get some practice putting these together first, and I really recommend that. Here I'm just using printable transparencies, but cardstock is also a great option. After you get it all cut out, you're going to want to fold along every line. With the print facing upwards,
you're going to fold every line backwards, like you see me doing right here. And I mean every line, all of the black lines, fold them all. Once you're done folding it, you're gonna have something that looks kind of like this. And you're gonna start gluing it together. I wish I could give you clear directions on this, but really you just kind of find where the pieces fit together and you glue on the little flaps like I am right here, and you glue those onto the back of their corresponding triangle. As you start getting it folded together, it becomes pretty clear how it goes together. So I think even without me giving you some kind of verbal directions, you guys will figure it out. The very few last pieces you glue into place are kind of a pain in the butt, I'm not gonna lie. Just be patient and take it slow. I'll be using these on a swag that hangs behind my tree, but they would for sure be cute hanging all over the tree too, if I had the patience to make enough. Maybe next year! To hang them, I'm just going to take a piece of one of these gold pipe cleaners again and kind of bend it into a little L and put hot glue on the tiny leg of the L and find a place in one of the flaps where I can stick it in. And I want to kind of aim it where it's lying against a corner like you see right here. And here's what we've got so far. You can see all of my gems and my dragons and my coins and my alicorns and my minifigs and a cute little toy stuffed wizard bear my kid stuck in the tree. It's just a lot of fun. But wait, there's more.
Are you ready? Are you ready for this tree topper? Let's do this tree topper. Oh yeah, so excited.
Here are the tools you're gonna need for phase 1 of this fantastic tree topper. This is just regular craft foam, and this ruler is 2 inches wide, and I'm using it as a guide to make a long cut of 2-inch wide foam. Now I'm just gonna try to figure out about how big I would like it to be at the base of this plastic ornament I got from Dollar Tree. Once I have the size figured out, I'm just going to cut it right there. Give it a little test fit again before I glue it all together. And then just glue the seam closed. Now I'm going to take this plastic ornament and put it on my finger and use some cooking spray and just spray it kind of all around the outside of the ornament lightly. Did you guys know that cooking spray makes things slippery? Now I'm just going to wipe it around with a cotton ball. You can use anything really. I just had a cotton ball handy, but I want to make sure there's a nice, even, really light coating all around this. And now we're going to take that strip of foam we made to fit at the base of it and kind of make sure it's lined up with the opening of the ornament straight in the middle there. And I'm starting at the back where the seam is. And I'm just going to start kind of gluing this all together. Just be careful how much hot glue you put on at once, or you could have a blowout like I did here. Plus it kind of started melting the ornament, so it's a good thing I started on the back side. So yeah, go slow and take it a little easier than I did. So now that I fixed that blowout, I'm going to kind of just tack this in place all the way around with just a small bead that joins the ornament and the foam. Now we start kind of drizzling hot glue, starting at the bottom and working toward the ornament. You want the big globs to be on the ornament, but again, don't go too big or it will melt the ornament. But you want it to look kind of like this. I'm going to go over this 1 or 2 more times with hot glue to build it up. So here it is, all built up and cooled off. And now I'm going to start gently pulling away the glue from the ornament. This is why we put that cooking oil all over the ornament. That way it can't adhere. We want to be able to pull this off. And you guys can see what I mean about the heat deforming the ornament. It's really bad in that one spot at the back seam, but yeah. So do go slow. Luckily, I stopped before I melted a hole through the ornament. Now we're going to take this glue piece we made and spray paint it with metallic silver. And then you have this cool business. It looks like a crystal ball held by molten metal. Today, my assistant is my stinky little old dog man. Now, using the base as a guide, I'm going to just stick a Sharpie in there and draw on the ornament because we need a line to cut. For the initial cut, I advise heating up a utility knife like this to stick it into the plastic. It's just a lot easier than trying to force it in without it being heated up. But after you get that initial hole going, you should be able to cut through the ornament pretty easily. We're just going to cut right along that line we drew with the Sharpie. So at this point, our little crystal ball situation should be something like this. For the next step, I'm going to use this polyfill, and I'm just going to be pulling it apart and separating it where it looks all wispy. You could use cotton balls, the inside of an old stuffed animal, or an old pillow, just whatever you've got handy. I'm also going to be using this set of battery operated lights that I got from Dollar Tree. They come in all kinds of different shapes and sizes. I'm going with some stars. Here I'm just pulling apart that batting, like I said, into little wispies. Next, I'm going to use some of this shaved ice glitter stuff I also got at Dollar Tree, but you can find it all over the place. It's just kind of a white iridescent glitter. Then I'm going to lay down this bag for protection and spread out my batting across the bag. Next, I'm going to get out that shaved ice glitter again and some really strong hairspray, and I'm going to just mist the batting and then sprinkle on some of the glitter and mist the batting again, and that should hold the glitter in place pretty well on top of this batting. Now I'm going to use this base as my guide one more time, and I'm going to use a Sharpie and trace out roughly the right size circle to fit inside the base. I want to place that circle about midway down into the base. I'm going to hot glue this into place inside the base, but I'm only going to hot glue 3 sides. I'm going to leave the 4th side open, and you will see why in just a minute. Now I'm going to do the hairspray and glitter trick to the inside of this ornament. Just give it a little hit of hairspray and a little sprinkle of glitter. Now, if you're a glitter hater, you can totally skip this, but I think it gives it a really nice, icy, magical look. Now I'm going to start gathering up all my pretty little decorations. These are some white, again, iridescent glittered little plant stems I got, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago at Hobby Lobby, I think. And now, you remember that little flap we left? Here's why. We're going to take the battery pack of the lights and feeding it from the top, we're going to just pop it out the bottom, just like that. Then we're going to stuff our glittery foam inside our glittery ornament and take the light strands and try to carefully feed them in there, getting as many of them inside the batting as you can. This part might take a little bit of fussing with. It's okay. It's kind of fun. Here's what we're going for though. Oh, so magical. Now I'm going to put just little bitty dots of hot glue all the way around and tack the base onto the ornament. Now I'm just going to start decorating it with some of those little floral pieces I had and some resin pieces I made for this. These resin pieces are mostly clear resin with a little bit of white Pearl-Ex powder and some of the shaved ice glitter in it. It gives a really nice opalescent effect, and I think it looks really pretty like ice, which is obviously what I'm going for here. I'm going to use a scrap of foam and glue a little ledge sort of thing to the front of my glowing crystal ball thingamajig. And again, I'm going to use the hairspray and glitter trick. I'm going to put this big opalescent cabochon right on the front. Now I'm going to start gluing some of the crystal shards I made on that little ledge we glued to the front. Once I'm done fussing with all that, it's time to get out the main attraction. That's right, a dragon. This is a dragon's hoard tree after all. Now, next year I plan to make an entire dragon, but this year I'm just going to modify this one I found at the store. I'm mixing some clear acrylic varnish, some of this color shift paint, and a little bit of Pearl-Ex powder. I wound up needing to remix it to add more varnish because I really just want it to be a glaze. When you use two sort of opposite colors like I did with the purple and the turquoise, it's going to make even more of a color shift, and I think this is going to add a nice icy glaze. But make sure you test your paint before you put it on your main attraction because you don't want to mess it up. Once I'm sure I've got my paint how I like it, I'm going to start going over these parts of the wings that you can kind of see through. And we're just going to go over in light coats. We don't want a heavy coating. And I'm also going to do the horns up here on their head because those are also little see-through, kind of crystally looking spots. I'm pretty much covering anything that's translucent with this glaze. And even though it doesn't really translate so well here on film, it gives it a very nice icy iridescence that is just beautiful. Here it is. Only one thing left to do. Stick this sucker to the top of my tree. And here we have the final production. I think this turned out so amazing. It wasn't exactly like I thought, but in the end, I'm still like over the moon happy about this thing. It's so much fun and it suits our family just so perfectly. I love everything about this. I already have some ideas for how to build on this for next year, and really I think this is just going to be an ongoing and growing project. Every year I plan to do more and more and make it more fantastic. Let me know what you guys think, and if you have any ideas of things that you think would be a good addition to this. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope it was worth the wait. No matter how you celebrate, I hope you and your family have a great holiday season. Please be sure and like and subscribe and come back next weekend.